Chemical sensitivity, this is probably what's being hit the hardest in the toxicity and detox masterclass, because this is about chemicals, right? And so imbalances can lead to things like chronic pain and chronic fatigue, but also, as you all are probably very familiar, gut and skin and brain issues, right? So if we have chemical toxins in our life, we're going to start getting these weird symptoms all over. And a lot of that has to do with science. We'll talk about really briefly about the chemical centers of our body. And then it can lead to things like chronic illness and autoimmunity. So this was one of those common threads I saw of sensitive people, but often that group of people that had autoimmune conditions really had, either really small chemical sensitivity gifts, or they had a lot of stressors and it was just really overflowing. This is where that connection came in, where those people often triggered a lot of symptoms and stress elsewhere in their life. But they could have started out with a really small chemical sensitivity gift. And we'll talk about what that looks like in a second. But when they have a huge capacity, when somebody has an empty vessel and they're able to handle all these chemical sensitivity experiences, they have a really healthy metabolism. They have stable energy and stable mood and a really strong, robust immune system. So, again, the flip side of that, when it's in balance, when it's really stressed out, looks like autoimmunity, chronic illness, digestive issues like IBS, skin issues, eczema, acne, hives, all of those sort of things fall into this category of overflow. And then also things like allergies, food sensitivities, even, dysglycemia, blood sugar stuff, all of these kind of biochemical processes in our body. And it can lead to it can also start looking like people having brain fog, right? Which they might think is a mental or a brain problem, right? But it can really be that chemical sensitivity overflowing. Headaches also can be caused by this. Aversion to smells, perfumes, different types of kind of that sensory stuff, because when that goes in, it has to go through our liver to detox, or it has to go through our body detox and drainage systems. And if they're already overflowing, it's kind of like you have all these like clogged toilets that are overflowing and you just cannot handle more junk coming in. But also reaction to jewelry and metals. So these are people who get rashes when they have different types of metal on their skin. And a lot of that's because of their chemical sensitivity. Either the stressors are just overflowing or their cup is small. And, this is where functional medicine and a lot of these things that people have recognized is great at expanding the size of that cup, of that jar of the chemical gifts. And then another really interesting one that I mentioned earlier is strong body odor. So having a really strong, like almost offensive body odor where you need like clinical strength deodorant, that's a sign that your cup is so severely overflowing and you're unable to detox and drain a lot of these chemical toxins out. So again, those gifts look like what we talked about, just having healthy metabolism, great digestion, great energy, strong immune system. But on, the extreme side of this, people who have gifts here are really great with these senses. So they might be really talented chefs, mixologists, cooks. They might be able to like smell things and pick out all the spices and scents without feeling nauseous or overwhelmed. Really highly skilled with those five senses, and very little to no allergies with food, just really robust digestion and